Here we go, here we go. We are just not finishing up. Now, we entering the walk down where we're gonna walk a mile and a half, or a mile and a quarter, which is one time all the way around. Not all the way around, but halfway through. You know, because all the way around is 2 miles. And then it got this little trail right here that's in the middle of the whole run, which is one time all the way around is 2 miles. This right here in the middle, I calculated to be a mile and a quarter all the way around. So that's where we at right now. Man, it's always something, bro. Now we got Jerome Powell says he's facing investigation because of the add-on they was trying to do to that Fed building. They're investigating to see if it's in, well, they're saying that there's a lot of scam going on with that, a lot of taking money. See, a lot of them do that, Chad, on both sides. Man, them people be pocketing that money. You know, that's one of the reasons why they say America's in debt right now, which, me personally, I don't believe America's really in debt. So I'm gonna see if I can play this either which way it go. I'm gonna listen to what Jerome Powell had to say. It's about a 2-minute video, 2-minute clip. Yeah, that's what we're gonna start doing on here, reacting to stuff on the walk down.
Served the Federal Reserve with grand jury subpoenas, threatening a criminal indictment related to my testimony before the Senate Banking Committee last June. That testimony concerned in part a multi-year project to renovate historic Federal Reserve office buildings. I have deep respect for the rule of law and for accountability in our democracy. No one, certainly not the chair of the Federal Reserve, is above the law. But this unprecedented action should be seen in the broader context of the administration's threats and ongoing pressure. This new threat is not about my testimony last June or about the renovation of the Federal Reserve buildings. It is not about Congress's oversight role. The Fed, through testimony and other public disclosures, made every effort to keep Congress informed about the renovation project. Those are pretexts. The threat of criminal charges is a consequence of the Federal Reserve setting interest rates based on our best assessment of what will serve the public, rather than following the preferences of the president. This is about whether the Fed will be able to continue to set interest rates based on evidence and economic conditions, or whether instead monetary policy will be directed.
If you just listen to that, Jerome Powell basically said that he's facing this investigation because he's not doing what basically Trump wanted him to do as far as the interest rates. You know, Trump, you know what I'm saying, in his real estate and his supporters and his buddies, you know, with the big boys, they want the interest rates down lower, you know, so they can swoop in and buy a lot of these properties and get, you know, instead of paying cash for the properties, they want to swoop in and, you know, basically get them properties with low interest rates. But in my opinion, man, Jerome Powell is really the expert, right? He is the head Fed chair. And I think that majority of these people need to just go by what he say. You know, go by what he say, because that's what he do. Let him do his job. You know, I understand that the real estate gurus and all those, you know, they want cheap interest rates so they can go in and buy some of these properties and some of these commercial businesses, you know, for a player price, plus have low interest rates. You know, because we all know these guys, you know, even just because they're billionaires, they're not putting up their own cash buying these businesses. They are these buildings. They're doing it off credit and you know, based on interest rates. You know, they want low interest rates. And they're pressuring Powell right now, you know, as you just heard, he said that in so many words, that they're trying to discredit him and criminalize him now because they're saying that he was using the taxpayers' money, you know, to build the building, but like he was misusing the money, you know. So they're trying to bring up charges on him to discredit him as much as possible. But the thing is, Jerome Powell, his term about to be up. And like, I think in 4 or 5 months, I think in May, his term is pretty much up. You know what I'm saying? So I don't understand why. I mean, I understand they want the interest rates where they want them to be right now. You know, why they want that, Stock Sniper? Because those those real estate gurus and the ones that, you know, basically supporting Trump by giving him campaign money, you know, they really the ones that want that interest rate drop so they can come in and buy some of this real estate, you know, and not really pay that much interest on the loans. And they're really trying to do that ASAP. You know what I'm saying? So they're really trying to do that ASAP, you know, because I don't know if y'all realize this or not, but Jerome Powell don't have that much longer, you know, as the Fed chair. His time, you know, running that Federal Reserve is just about over with, you know? So, I mean, I think they'll just let it be how it is, and then, you know, Trump can appoint somebody else to run that Fed chair, you know? So, but, you know, as Jerome Powell is saying, he's the expert, right? He's saying that inflation, we're still threatened by inflation, and it's a whole lot of uncertainty on the tariffs and the effect on the tariffs on what's going to really happen with the economy. You know, so that's why, see, one thing about the feds and the Fed chair and these guys, if they're uncertain about certain things, they're going to do what's best for the economy. You know, they're not going to do what's best for a certain president or a certain person. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, in my opinion, Jerome Powell has maybe done some iffy decisions, but at the same time, he's the expert. You know what I'm saying? Just let the man do his job and let the chips lie where they may. You know what I'm saying? Because uh, President Trump was the one who appointed him to be the Fed chair in the first place back in 2016 or whenever the year was. During Trump's first term, he was the one that appointed Jerome Powell to be the head of the Federal Reserve. But we all know how Trump is. You know, you know, if you're down with the team, he wants you to be down with the team. If you ain't down with the team, you know, you get exiled, you know, you get eliminated. And that's what we're seeing what's happening to Jerome Powell, which is the expert. You know what I'm saying? You know, but you know, when you want the power, you know, I talk about all the time, the money and the power. You know what I'm saying? As we hit 42 people in the building, appreciate y'all for joining me. And you know, the power, you know, all they care about is the power. You know, that's what we got to realize, chat. You know, these people, man, some of these people, all they care about is the power. They don't care about nothing else. It's the power, and guess what? And as long as it benefits them and it lines up their pockets or the people that's, you know, in that type of field, you know, that's all that matters to them. You know, what's up, chat? How y'all doing? Thank y'all for joining. It's kind of blurry. How many more years do you need to see what tariffs are doing to the economy? Well, I really don't know. I'm not an expert at that. Jerome Powell is the expert at that. So it's a lot of, you know, in his opinion, he's the expert. You know, they hired him to do the job. So I think that let him make the decisions. You know, let him make the decisions. You know, I want the interest rates lower too, you know, but that's not my job. You know what I'm saying? That's not my job. That's his job. You know, so I think that let the man do his job. And if he make a mistake, if it's mistakes, if he mess up, like they call him, what they call him, too late Powell, you know, then we critique him after he do his job, like a mechanic. I don't know nothing about putting in a motor in the car. I don't know nothing about a transmission in the car. But guess what? I want my motor in the car today. As an example, Chad, I want my motor in the car today. I want my transmission put in. But the expert is telling me, well, hey, it's gonna take a little bit longer for whatever reason. This is pretty much an example. I'm not an expert at mechanics. So yes, I want my vehicle to telling me, well, hey man, we gotta wait on this, that, and the third. We gotta wait on the motor to come in. We gotta wait on the transmission to come in. Y'all get where I'm going. You know, so it's the same scenario. See, a lot of these things, guys, we need to put in just normal life. You know what I'm saying? We got to put things in just normal life. And yes, everybody got their opinion, you know, but at the end of the day, Jerome Powell only have a few more months left, you know. If he's a crook, then that criminal investigation or whatever is going on, gonna tell the toll, you know. But we all know Trump he been wanting him to drop them interest rates ever since day one, you know. But the expert, you know, is a lot of uncertainty and what's going on, you know. Like Jerome Powell said that, you know, he was expecting to do so many cuts, but then the tariffs came along, and when it comes to uncertainty and they don't know how the flow of everything is going to react to it, basically, that, you know, we got to hold up, because when it comes to that type of stuff, fear and uncertainty, guys, is huge. We don't know what's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? But at the same, so we don't know what's going to happen. So we got to wait and see what's going to happen. And according to Jerome Powell, it's going to take a little bit longer. You know what I'm saying? So we have to learn to accept what the experts say. Just like the example that I'm giving about the car. Well, if you critique the mechanic after the work is already done, or you take it to go get a second opinion. But in this case, you know, you're basically stuck with the guy that's in charge, which, remember, guys, Trump is the one who appointed Jerome Powell. Jerome Powell is not a Biden appointee. Jerome Powell is a Trump appointee. You know what I'm saying? So we gotta, you know, look at it like that, you know, in my opinion. You know, but the experts, the ones that go to school, the ones that really the experts and know, we got to have our faith in them, right? Just like we have our faith in everything else that's an expert, like a doctor, a lawyer, and things like that. Well, you gotta let the expert be the expert, especially if you don't know nothing about it. You know, and in my opinion, Trump want to do what's best for him and his people, you know, which ain't nothing really wrong with that. You know, that's how it's supposed to go. If somebody is supporting your campaign, supporting your movement, you know, you gotta look out for the best interest of the people who rock with you. I understand that. But then at the same time, you know, you got an expert who you also appointed. Trump is very pissed at Jerome Powell, guys. We all understand that. He is very, very pissed. Thank you for hitting the like button. Trump is very, very pissed at Jerome Powell. And in my opinion, if you've been on this channel for a while, you already know how it go down. Everybody got their own opinion. You know what I'm saying? This is America, Jack. You got your opinion. Everybody got an opinion. As long as you're able to express your opinion with some clarity, you know, that's how it goes, guys. That's why this channel, you know, you could come over here and you can speak your opinion on whatever it gotta be. As long as you ain't threatening nothing like that. You explaining yourself with clarity, and everybody look at things differently. And what's so great about that chat, that when you're able to do that, so you could get other people's opinions and other people's, that's what I love about it so much. You can get other people's opinions from other people that are probably smarter than me or you or whatever the case may be, and probably can have you look at it from a totally different situation. You know what I'm saying? That's why I really don't block nobody on this channel. Nah, I'm not really doing that, because I want to know what you think. And by me doing that, it makes me understand it's a lot of smart people that comes in the chat, because guess what? We're all like-minded. We all are interested in the same things. Yeah, we're all interested in the same things. And that's what I love so much about social media and the internet. When you connect with like-minded people, you know, you get to learn a lot of things on a whole nother level. And guess what, guys? I don't think I know it all. I know I don't know it all. That's why, that's one of my best qualities, is that I'm able to listen and get other people's perspective. You know, that's how come I'm a great learner. I don't think that my shit don't stink. You know what I'm saying? Even though I'm kind of off topic a little bit, but it all goes hand in hand to what we're talking about. Because sometimes you got to take things and make a little sense out of it. You got to sit and think. You know what I'm saying? And with Jerome Powell, you know, if If he did any funny things, any criminal things, guess what? They gonna deal with him, man. They gonna deal with him. They should know by now that the Trump administration is not playing. They not playing, chat. They not playing, guys. They are not playing. They are ready to take care of business. You know what I'm saying? If you in violation, if you do anything wrong, guess what? They're coming at you. You know, and that's what's going on. It's a lot going on, guys, in 2026. It's a lot. The year just started. You know what I'm saying? And in my opinion, Trump only been the president not even a year. You know what I'm saying? And it's a lot been going on in 1 year. And guess what, man? We just getting started. You know what I'm saying? We just getting started, so you got to buckle up. Make sure you pay attention to what's going on. Make sure you keep your nose clean. Make sure you dot your I's and cross all your T's, you know, and make sure you educate yourself and make sure you educate your kids and your grandkids on what's really going on. You got to make sure of that, chat. I'm experiencing high electricity bills for the last 5 years because I live in a sanctuary city. It's not fair to the rest of American citizens to pay for outsiders instead of our own. Yeah, I agree with that. Trey, I agree with that. I agree with what you just said. It's not fair. You know what I'm saying? That's why we as a collective of people, we got to educate ourselves. We got to educate others. We can't we got to come together. We can't be like arguing back and forth. We got to respect other people's opinion, you know, and then we got to enlighten other people. That's what's so powerful about the internet. You know what I'm saying? You got to enlighten other people. You know, that's the best thing about it. You know what I'm saying? If you really think about it, you know, that formula, that's how Trump won the election, guys. He had people like Charlie Kirk, rest in peace, Charlie Kirk, going out, putting the work in. You know what I'm saying? And we all know Charlie Kirk was really putting the work in no matter what you think about the guy. You know what I'm saying? No matter what you think, he was going out, pushing their agenda and what they had, what they beliefs. They were going to all these colleges. Just like I'm on the internet right now and I talk about it all the time about putting the work in. I was talking about that on Friday. Charlie Kirk, no matter what you think, you know what I'm saying, about Charlie Kirk, that guy was going to all these colleges and universities and putting the work in and talking and having good dialogue. And guess what he was doing while he was doing that? He was doing what I was talking about yesterday, which is collecting votes. That's what he was doing. You know what I'm saying? So that's what we gotta realize. We gotta take that type of formula and go out and speak and go out and have great conversations without being disrespectful. Agree to disagree, you know, by the masses. You know what I'm saying? That's exactly what Charlie Kirk was doing. He was doing it online, but he also had boots on the ground. He had boots on the ground doing it. You know what I'm saying? That's exactly what he was doing. You know, not only him, you know what I'm saying? You had Joe Rogan, mostly on the internet though, but Charlie Kirk was the main one. You know what I'm saying? Because he was going to where the young people are, right? Because the children are the future. He was going to where young people are, high schools, colleges, you know what I'm saying? To the major universities, you know, and going and setting up shop. And he knew that he was gonna get a lot of backlash. You know what I'm saying? He knew that, but he still was going and having great conversations with the kids. You know, that's what he was doing. Unfortunately, you know, he took his life, but guess what? When you believe in something, this is one of the main things I learned from Charlie Kirk. I didn't like a lot of things, but I respect, you know, I respect other people's opinions and I respect what other people, you know, what other people's thoughts are, as long as they ain't, you know, harsh or nothing like that. But one thing about Charlie Kirk, what he believed in, he already knew that his life was on the line. You got to stand for something because guess what, guys? If you stand for nothing, you'll fall for anything. You know what I'm saying? You got to stand 10 toes down on your beliefs, your family values. You know what I'm saying? And everybody in your family, wife, kids, and everybody got to understand what is really going on. You know what I'm saying? And that man already knew that his life was on the line, guys. He already knew that no matter how you think about him. See, one thing about me and one thing we need to start doing is we got to stop trying to judge other people because they think a certain type of way or whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what America is all about. America's about the freedom of speech. You know what I'm saying? That's that's the first or the second amendment. One of the two. One of the first rules of law of America is the freedom of speech. The freedom to have a good dialogue and have a good conversation between a couple of people that probably don't agree with each other, but it's a great dialogue. Why? Because people can learn from two people's perspectives. That's why my goal on this channel is to start pulling people up. You know what I'm saying? Long as you are respectful, long as you know how to speak your mind clearly from a positive perspective and a mature perspective. That's one of my goals on here, is to start bringing people up and have 4, 5, 6 people on the live stream. Because guess what, guys? Over 500,000 people been coming and rocking with the channel for about a week. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of traffic coming through. And I like this type of stuff. This is what I do in real life. You know what I'm saying? So I just transformed it to the internet. A light bulb went off and said, hey man, you already like these kind of things no matter what. So let's bring it to the internet and talk to the people. And that's what I've been doing. You know what I'm saying? I've been talking about things that really matter, not just as Americans, but as human beings in the world. And that's what we need to focus on. And we can learn things from one another. You know what I'm saying? And if we don't agree, hey, we don't agree. But we got a level of respect, a level of respect, you know what I'm saying, for one another. And that's how we learn. That's how we come together. That's how the kids learn. You know what I'm saying? That's how the people learn. It's like if I'm having a dialogue with somebody right now, the people that's going to win from the conversation is the people in the audience, right? Why the people in the audience going to win, Stock Sniper? The people in the audience are going to win because they're able to take notes. They're able to listen. They're able to bring some clarity to themselves. You know what I'm saying? That's why we got to get to we the people. Once we get to we the people and we start finding ways, it's going to be difficult, but to try to bring the people together, ain't no left and right. You know what I'm saying? It's Americans. You know what I'm saying? But we got to understand, I don't care what side of the fence you're on. I don't care what side of the fence you're on, guys. You got to remember this. Take this from the OG. They want to keep us divided, guys. I don't care who you rock with. They want to keep us divided. That's exactly what they want to do. Because when you divide a people, that's one of the number one rules of the art of war. Divide and conquer. You know what I'm saying? But only way that we can come together is be able to agree to disagree. We got to have the maturity and the mindset to understand that it's a better common goal. Right, chat? It's a better common goal than just being in our feelings. It's a lot of times, I see a lot of times, not on the internet, but I see it in real life too, a lot of people arguing. Everybody want to be right. Everybody want to be right, especially if you're on the channel as far as content creators or whatever. They think that because they got a lot of subscribers or a lot of people watch their channel, that what they say is the only thing that matters. I'm not like that over here. This channel is not like that. Because like I said about 10 minutes ago, one of my best qualities is that I know how to listen and I'm good at learning. You know what I'm saying? So this is a message for everybody, content creators and all, especially if you're on the internet and you got a whole lot of people that watch you. Always be open-minded and open ears. Always be able to listen, because you'll learn a whole lot from the people that come rock with you. You'll learn a lot just by sitting and listening to the dialogue and taking notes and putting it, and if it makes sense, if it don't apply, let it fly. But if it makes sense, you write it down and you take it home and you teach it to your spouse. You teach it to your kids. You teach it to your grandkids. You teach it to the people you love that's in your circle. And then once you accomplish that, then you come out and you start putting the work in and you start teaching it to the rest of the people. And then when you learn a little bit more, and you focus, then you come on the internet and reach the masses. Because guess what? You can learn something from a lot of people around the world. That's why it's we the people. I've learned so much from the people that come on this channel. Not just about investing, about what's going on in the world, what's going on in America, what's going on in different states, different cities, also about health. You know what I'm saying? I've learned a lot just by the people in the chat. You know what I'm saying? That's because I am one of my best qualities is I know how to shut up and I know how to listen. And I know how to listen to things that make sense. You know what I'm saying? I know how to think before I make a move. You know what I'm saying? I know how to think before I react. You know what I'm saying? I know how to think and I know how to be considerate of others. You know, because it's we the people. Everybody, we all love America. We all love the world. We all love human beings. You know what I'm saying? But the one thing about Americans is that we are not, one thing I've learned about majority of the Americans is that we are not yes men. That's one thing that we are not. Wow. That's how you know everything that's going on. We are not yes men over here, guys. You know what I'm saying? But what's so good about it, the best thing about it, how our country is put together, the freedom of speech, the freedom to go out and dialogue, the freedom to speak and say how you feel. You know what I'm saying? The freedom of speech is very, very powerful. And guess what, guys? Us as Americans, we have to realize how powerful that is because guess what? It's a lot of these other countries that don't have that. In some of these countries, if you speak your mind and you say something like, for instance, against Donald Trump or against the left or against the right, guess what? Sometimes it could cost them their life. We see that in Iran right now. Somebody asked me, why am I showing Iran? We should be worrying about America. I'm showing Iran and I'm react to Iran to let us know and the people know in America how good we got it. Hello. How good we really have it, guys. You know what I'm saying? How good we really have it. You know what I'm saying? But the thing is, we have to come together as a people. We got to come together. And we got to come together like never before and make this work out. And it's going to be hard work. You know what I'm saying? But we can do it. Why? Because we have the ability to do it by the internet and by our mouth and by what we put and what we put on the ground. That's what we have to do. I like your channel. I'll be back on my next break. Gotta get back to work. Have a nice day. That's right. Gotta go out and make an earn. You know what I'm saying? That's what we gotta focus on, guys. Work, spending less, and making some investments and pass it down to the kids and the grandkids. You know what I'm saying? And in that way, you can put you and your family in a whole nother level. Participate in the company's 401k plan. You know what I'm saying? Participate in some of these investments. And then understand that the people that then when you do that, then you educate yourself about the voting system. You educate yourself about the laws. You know what I'm saying? Because one thing that we know, guys, the investors, you know what I'm saying, and people like that, and the guys who work their way up the ladder through generational wealth, guess what they do? Those are the ones that dictate who's in office, guys. Those are the ones that we got to realize that we got to understand that. And once we understand that, guess what's going to happen? You and your family and your community and your town and your state and America will be better as a whole. That's what we got to understand, guys. And with that being said, I got to go. It's been 30 minutes on this live. We got a football game tonight. Everybody that come rock with me on the football games and different things. On another note, we got the Houston Texans playing the Pittsburgh Steelers on Monday Night Football. And yes, guys, I will be going live tonight, commentary for the football game, just like I did last night. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit the notification bell so you will be notified whenever we go live. Come rock with me tonight, chat. Come let me know. We're going to just kick back and have fun. Let me know who you rolling with when it comes to the Texans or the Pittsburgh Steelers on Monday Night Football. With that being said, y'all have a great day, chat. Y'all have a great day, chat. Make sure you earn, spend less, make proper investments. Teach it to your kids and grandkids. Teach it to your nieces and nephews. Teach it to your community and the people you love in your circle. And then after that, you teach it to the rest of the world. You let everybody know what's going on. So with that being said, I love and I appreciate y'all chat. To the next one, it's the one and only Stock Sniper. To the next one, I'm out.